Hey there, folks. Welcome to another episode of the People Stack podcast. I'm Jen Bunk. I am co-CEO of the People Stack, and I am pleased as punch to introduce my husband, Rob Allen, who is also co-CEO of the People Stack. I am going to be turning it over to Rob. He is going to be your expert in guiding you toward building your dream career for the time being. So I am going to turn it over to Rob. So have fun. Talk to you soon.
Hey, everybody, and thank you, Jen, and welcome to sort of the next chapter in the People Stack here. And so today in this episode, what we're going to be talking about is how being good at your job could cost you your career. It's kind of like winning the battle but losing the war. And the reason I say that is because over certain calls that I've been having recently, and honestly, for the length of time that I've been doing the calls, one of the hardest parts isn't helping people to see what's not working in their career, but it's helping them to find out where they can go next, what they can do, what they could be, and what life could be like if they had their dream career. Part of the reason for that is because in the software industry, whether we're working directly for a software company or if we're working just for ourselves, then what we get told to do, what we do often and naturally, is we scope ourselves down. We take a problem and we take our master solution for that problem and we shrink it down. We push it tiny, tiny, tiny. And we try and make it as small as possible so that it fits within limited resources or with limited time or limited budget. And we keep doing that. It becomes natural. What we're finding is that it doesn't stay just right there in work. It doesn't just stay with your work projects or your work product. It also expands out into other aspects of your life and other places where someone says, hey, let's go do this great thing. And as soon as you hear that, you start finding ways that it's just not going to work that way, or it might be a challenge to work that way, or maybe you may not have enough resources to do it exactly the way you want. And so you scope it down, you minimize it. When it comes to your career, when it comes to the life that you and your family, the loved ones around you get to live, scoping down all of that stops you from thriving, stops you from trying. Stops you from naturally doing the things that are going to make you go further, go faster, go harder toward what it is you really want to achieve. In fact, when I talk to some folks and I ask them what they really want to achieve, what they really want in their dream life, they have no answer. They have no answer because it's not something that they've been thinking about. They may have had a dream at one point of becoming a really great engineer, really great product manager, really great project manager. And then they achieved that. And they never created a new dream on top of it. They never set a new objective or a new goal. Because on the pathway to becoming a great senior software engineer, or becoming a tech lead, or an engineering manager, or one of those other roles, you're introduced to a lot of projects, and throughout those projects, you keep scoping everything down. You get praise at work for fitting what you said into when you said you could do it. And so that's what you do. You minimize what you're suggesting. You minimize what you're promising. And you're minimizing what you're promising to yourself. If everything went exactly according to plan, if everything went the way you'd love for it to go, what could you be doing differently in your life? The fact of the matter is, most people haven't thought about that. And if you have, it wasn't recently. And if you thought about it recently, you probably bunched things down. Maybe my salary could go up by 20%. Maybe. It may not be worth it because once you take out the taxes and all of that other nonsense, it's not really worth it. Maybe I could get a promotion to one level up. Again, is it really worth it? When you allow your dreams to only just be like the dust on top of what is right now, that's what it's going to sound like. That's what it's going to look like. The most fun people for us to work with, though, are the people for whom they're not going to settle for that dust. They're not going to settle for what is just the next milestone on somebody else's pre-programmed career path. They have a desire. They have a mission. They have a life and a focus that they want to achieve, and they're not going to stop. They're not going to settle for anything less than that. We love working with those folks because when you can unlock someone's dream, when you can unlock what is possible, when you can help them to achieve things that were otherwise just completely fantasy, that is worth getting up in the morning for. And so I want to talk to you about going through those motions a bit more. So someone I spoke to recently is currently a very senior engineer, so a principal at a company you've heard of. And when asked what they wanted to do with the rest of their career, with the rest of their life, or what they would do, they had no answer. When I asked them if they would achieve their dream salary, they had asked for something along the lines of $300,000 a year. When I asked them, what would you do with $300,000 a year? The only thing that they could say was, I don't know, savings, investment. That's great and all, but when you're pulling nearly $20,000 a month, there's only so much saving and only so much investment and only so much debt you can pay off before now you've just got money sitting there doing nothing. How would you treat yourself? Where would you go? What would you do? What charities would you support? What things would you invest in beyond yourself? Those are all great questions for figuring out what a dream could be for you, what a dream life could or should be for you. And until you start thinking in those terms, you're going to keep scoping yourself down. And when you scope yourself down, you really don't achieve much of anything. One of the phrases that I really like is, even though astronomically speaking it's not correct, if you shoot for the moon and miss, you still end up among the stars. Now, eventually you may leave our solar system and end up just among the star space, but what I really like about that phrase is that if you shoot for the moon, if you go massive, if you aim for something so far beyond what you should be able to achieve, that act of stretching, that act of pushing, the act of going big in and of itself gets you far further along the path toward achieving that dream and living that life than you would have ever gotten if you had just gone, kept going ho-hum, next step, next step, next step. Trying to take that incremental approach is a great way to find yourself at retirement age without enough money, without enough focus, without enough life lived, and also to start feeling like there's much that you gave up along the way. The corollary to shooting for the moon and missing is if you keep grasping at straws and you miss, you're going to end up in the dirt. And even if you succeed, you're still just holding a handful of straws, and nobody wants that. Instead, shoot big, shoot for the moon, go huge. If you achieve it, you're on the freaking moon. And if you don't, you're way far away from the dirt still. What this looks like in your career would be something like not settling for whatever is just immediately in front of you. If you're a software engineer or a principal software engineer and you want something massive to change, what's a mission you could be working for? What's a mission you could be working toward that gets you up out of bed in the morning? What are the kinds of things that you could do that not only make you want to do a happy dance to do those things, but also you get paid well for it? You get to live a life outside of your work that is fulfilling. You get to live a life that inspires you and inspires others around you to go even bigger. And when you can inspire others to go even bigger, there are fewer joys in the world than that. And yet, coming back here, scoping down, scoping down, scoping down, scoping down. And you're better than that. You know you're better than that. So as you come through and you start taking stock of where you're at, you start taking stock of really where you want to be, not just at work, but outside in your life. When you look at the time that you're spending with your loved ones, when you go to your car and you wish it was something else, when you go and look at your vacation options and wish they were something else, what if all of that was yours? What if you had a magic wand in your back pocket that allowed you to control all of those variables and allowed you to set the stage for yourself to live whatever life you wanted to live? What would you build then? What life would you have? What mission would you serve? How big could you go? Once you're starting to think about that, then you're going to have a handful of options available to you. You can put that away on a shelf. You can try and scope it down and see if you can make any progress toward it. Or you can shoot for that moon. You can go huge. You can go big for that thing. And because you have that choice, I want you to take the simplest approach to get to that mission. And that's to book a call with Jen and I, because we work with people all the time to not only help them overcome their work challenges, but to go massive, to go huge, to go and reach for the stars so that they have even bigger, more inspiring dreams and they achieve them. And then they build a new dream on top of that. Once you've gotten to the moon, who knows what's next? Maybe it's the belts, maybe it's Jupiter, maybe, who knows? But once you stop thinking small, once you stop limiting yourself artificially, you're going to want to go places. And when you want to go places and you want to go them faster, come talk to us. We can help you get there. So take that moment. Book a call with us by going to thepeoplestack.com/book. And when you go there, you're going to set up a call that's going to be life-changing. Not just because we're going to talk about your dream, but because we're going to be able to help you build a plan to get there in this lifetime. And no dream is too big, but so many dreams right now are too small. And that's just inexcusable. So go to thepeoplestack.com/book and set up a call with our team so that we can help you get out of being stuck with just the dust on top of whatever your current role is. And we can help you go big. We can help you go massive. Everybody deserves an opportunity to live their dream. Everybody deserves a chance to be inspirational. So go ahead, book that call.